All right, so it's Cameron and John back back again for E3 discussions. This time we're tackling EA and Ubisoft,
which really should have just been one conference put together with no breaks in between.
Yeah, they could have done that.
Yeah.
So,
which one do you? I don't know. Which one do you want to start with? EA or Ubisoft?
We can go with EA.
Okay.
They opened with Plants vs Zombies.
They did.
I think that was the first thing they showed was Garden Warfare.
Oh, okay. Which looked interesting. Personally, we all know my feelings about the Xbox One, and since it was announced only for Xbox One 360, they may be trying to keep it to themselves. Who knows?
They can have it.
They can have it.
They can have it. No one else wants it.
I think it looks interesting, personally. I don't think it looks bad.
You want to play as a piranha plant that spits on zombies?
See, here's the thing. Like, I can't see myself paying any amount of full or even close to full retail price for that game.
It's free to play, though.
Oh, let's see. But there you go. Okay, that's something that I could see myself spending a small amount of time on, and if it's fun, continue playing. It doesn't seem that bad. It looked interesting. Then again, I mean, it's nothing that I'm gonna be like, oh man, that really blows, because just that's a point for Xbox. You know what I mean? It's not a point for Xbox. I'm just saying that it is something that I would be interested in trying out.
Yeah, well, you stand alone on that. I have zero interest of shooting zombies as a plant.
I mean, people love Plants vs Zombies, so
I've played it. I got bored of it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
After that, they showed Titanfall, which I mean
True.
we've already covered in the last video.
Yeah, but we can talk about it again. Titanfall looks amazing. I personally would think it'd be just the best thing ever if it was in third person.
Yeah.
Third person would make that the ultimate game ever. But like
I think the mix could have stayed first person, just because having the camera pulled back that far would have been a pain in the ass. But
but when you're a foot soldier, especially because of how stylized and great the soldiers look, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks like they could have added some customization to them,
exactly.
So you can make your soldier look however you want, and then you would have been able to see him.
Yeah, and it would have been great. That would have added a lot more, enjoyment to the experience, especially on online. Individuality is always good, especially with the style of game that they have there. I just feel like that would have been a great addition. Maybe they'll have a camera mode for that. Who knows?
Who knows?
Hopefully, if they do have a camera mode for that, the run animation won't suck to the balls. So that would be good. Because that's always a problem for me, is that with games that aren't originally third person or just specifically third person, their third person animations are really, really bad.
I mean, from the first trailer they showed, it looked like they had some really good third person animations, and I was like, okay, so it's gonna be a third person shooter because of how much work they put into it.
Right.
And they showed the gameplay and it was first person, and I was like, wait, please don't do this. I want to see myself fly around and run on walls.
Exactly. I want to see myself be like a cyborg mixture soldier guy that can do parkour and have jump jets. Like, that's what I want to see, and it really could have did a lot for it, especially in what's that game? Not recently, but a year back.
Brink?
Not Brink. And I'm talking about the same perspective as the camera.
Lost Planet?
No, that too, but there's a black guy with superpowers. Okay, not superpowers, but he had
Prototype 2?
No, it was
Crackdown?
Not Prototype 2. It was not Crackdown.
I can't think of one other game with a black guy with superpowers.
It was a PS3 exclusive. There were planes and there were Starhawk. There we go.
Oh, Starhawk.
Yeah,
that is fairly new.
Yeah, the Starhawk. Something that's in the same perspective of that is what I really envisioned it in. especially with like the calling things down from the sky and whatnot. It just looked like a really badass version mixture of like Starhawk and Vanquish to me.
Yeah.
And that would have been a great mixture to have, like this is, of all things. But they kind of went that first person. It still looks great though. Like from the moment he started running, I was like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. Then the jump jets was like, oh, okay, even better. And then he got in the mech, and I was like, oh, okay, we have a winner here. And then he jettisoned out of the mech when he's about to die and jumped onto the other mech, opened it, and shot its face. And I was like, oh, I'm sold. Like, I was like, I want
sold in the game, not the console.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, that's my point. Is that I really would love it for PC, like, or PS3, or I'll even go as far as to say Wii U. Anything. I refuse. We've already spoken about this. Like what it would take for me to buy an Xbox One, just because, like, and we've talked about, regardless of all the things that are coming out for it from EA and the partnerships that they're making and the games that they're trying to do, and they had a decent roster in their press conference, but the games alone will sell me on wanting to buy your system, but they won't sell me on actually making that solid decision to do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'll want it by all means so I can play that game. But as I told you before, I hate the features. I hate the features so much that, like, of your system, that I can't bring myself to pay, especially $500 to sit there and be spied on by the government. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not paying you $500 for that, especially because I don't like the business scheme of it, of attaching this mandatory hardware that's high priced and is definitely jacking up the price by a lot. That always has to be there, even though it's something that not everybody is going to use. You know what I mean?
No, most people don't even want it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. I told you I wouldn't. It's the equivalent of, like, I wouldn't. It doesn't matter if Super Smash Brothers just what is the fourth one coming out. 4, 5, and 6 launched all on the same day with a Chrono Trigger reboot and a Metroid Prime 5, okay, on Wii U tomorrow. If one of the feature sets of Wii U is mandatory gay porn, I'm not going to buy the system. It's not happening. Like, it's just that's just how I feel.
Fucking mandatory gay porn with your games.
Yes. If that was a feature set of the Wii U, I would not buy one no matter what game was on there. Would I want to play Metroid and Super Smash Brothers 4 through 7? Yes, I would. But okay, if I'm playing the game and it interrupts me every 34 seconds, or every like 35 minutes for one scene from gay porn, okay, I'm not doing
just a full like 15-minute scene of gay porn.
And you can't turn your TV off. You can't crank the volume down. You can't do anything. You have to sit there and you have to watch it. Okay.
You have to look at the screen.
Yes, or else it won't let you back in. Like, that's how I feel with Xbox One. I literally feel like they kind of force, like, and just the things that, like, they're, even though they're not necessarily forcing you, okay, to do anything with it necessarily, the fact that, like, you still have to have it and it has to be connected, even if you're not comfortable with it being connected, things of that nature. What if it screws up your game? Like, what if, like, someone in the background is just like, Xbox off, and just cuts off your game? You know what I mean? Like, things like that. And the used game situation and just all that nonsense and everything that I don't like about the Xbox One, I can't buy it. But it did have some great games from EA, and in their press conference, Ubisoft will be giving it good support too, no doubt. But yeah, that's how I feel about that.
I mean, there's not much else that EA brought up that was interesting. They had NBA Live 14, woohoo.
Madden
25, FIFA. They had Drake come out and just talk about
football. That happened.
he just comes out and he's just like, yo, did you know football outside of America is called soccer? Oh, backwards. I had that backwards. I'm fucking retarded. I derped so badly right there. Holy shit.
It's okay. We know what you meant. But, like, but that killed me. Like, the first time, some random guy, like, I wasn't even paying it. Like, we were just talking because we didn't really care about the basketball game at that point. But then I just hear rapping inside of my ear. And I'm like, yo, none of my music is on right now. Why do I hear rapping? So, like, I click on the conference and I'm just like, dude, they're doing it again? Like, I was like, no, stop, please. No one learned from the Usher concert last E3. Don't do it again. Please don't do it again. And then Drake comes out and I just start screaming. It's like, no!
He didn't even do anything. They probably paid him an ass load of money to come to. And
right.
He just came out and he was like, Soccer's cool, thumbs up, and just walked off.
I play FIFA. I'm like, okay, let's get something straight here. Drake is not a gamer, all right? I don't know him personally, but
nor does he ever play soccer, ever.
Thank you. I'm just like, no, exactly. Nor does he ever play soccer. My man is too knee deep in the bitches to ever pick up the sticks, okay? We've already talked about this. There's no way. And it's like, I understand what you're trying to do, but like that whole name dropping thing that's become so popular at these conferences, it's just like, you're kind of just taking away from the focus of the game itself. I mean, is Drake's music lovely? Sure, why not? Do I want to see him on the cover of my FIFA game? And don't.
I hope he's on the cover.
Yeah, everybody who's listening to this, don't be afraid.
FIFA 14 featuring Drake, and he's just like on the cover.
He's on the cover, not even in soccer gear, just standing there, just standing there, just in a rap pose. Has like a bunch of hoes around him, just FIFA 14 featuring Drake. But yeah, it's just like I'm nothing against Drake or the random rapper guy that I have no clue who he was, or even in Ubisoft when they started off the guitar solo, and I'm just like, guys, I understand that gaming expands. I understand that it's in far more different worlds and genres than just, you know, what's on your screen. That being said,
we don't want none of this.
Yeah, exactly. We don't care about a lot of this. You know, like there's so much unnecessary stuff. It's like, why is everybody pulling a Microsoft now? Like, that's officially what it just called for me. It's pulling a Microsoft. Whenever you have something that's kind of completely unrelated or disjointed with what you're doing, or is just so extra that it shouldn't have happened, to me, that's pulling a Microsoft. And I just don't understand why people keep doing that, because it's like, you could have easily told me a lot about your basketball game without doing a solid 2 minutes of random dribbling and a dude rapping. Like, that does nothing. Is that ever going to happen in the game? No, then why are you showing it to me? Like, same thing with...
Yeah, they're starting to take more away from, like, the actual showing a gameplay and just more stage performances that do not contribute to the game. While they may be related, they do not contribute.
Yes, exactly. And the thing is, it's like, well, Drake was not related. Okay,
Drake was completely unrelated. That was not just called for at all. There was like no reason.
Did he need to be at E3 at all? Like, really? I have nothing against them, but I just didn't see the point in, hey, let's pay some really well-known rapper to come to, or artist or whatever, to come to our conference and say a few words about the game, even though he may not even like the game or play the game himself, even though 90% of our of our audience may not even know who he is listening to his music either. You know what I mean? I mean, let's think about it for a second. I mean, not that gamers are completely inept to the outside world, but many of us. Like, you know, it's just they just show us a whole lot of things we don't care about, and they think it's because it'll make it memorable. Well, it would make it memorable if you just showed us the game. So
it makes it infamous.
Decision. Thank you. And, you know, it's just we can just make our decision right there and think and know if we like the game or like what it looks like right there, and we wouldn't really need, you know, fucking Bon Jovi to come on stage and do a solo. We don't need all that. And it's just like, you know, it's just like, I understand why Nintendo opted out of the conference. I truly do now, because it's just like everybody is just on some bullshit this year. And Nintendo's like, I want no part of it. I'll stick with my Nintendo Direct and do a good 4 show and do like a small press thing for just press. and just leave it at that. And I think honestly that's one of the best ways to go.
Yeah, they're really trying to separate themselves from everybody else and just do their own thing.
Well, also they have a lot to show, so I think that's why it is as well, because they really, really want to focus you in on just their games, I think. And I think they want you just to focus in on the experiences that you'll be having with some of their games. And I think they really just want you to get your hands on stuff, you know what I mean? So, and I think that especially is true because they're allowing a lot of their E3 demos to be played in, select stores around the country. So I think that that was a good move as well. I'm hoping that they put them on the eShop. I really am.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. That would be their best move yet, personally. I want that Santa Claus World demo, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of if they put their E3 demos on the eShop, that would instantly just deal a heavy critical blow to everyone else's floor experience. You know what I mean? Like everyone else, anything that anyone else puts on the floor, and for anybody else's press conferences or anything that they try to do for people at home, if Nintendo actually sent out their E3 demos and put them on the eShop, that would vastly be better than anything that I could probably expect at E3. Not all of them, because that's a little much to ask.
And if they did, it'd probably become a standard for successive years.
It would be standard from there on in. Everyone would do it, and then you'd have Microsoft like, "Dang it, why didn't we think of that?" And they'd immediately do it next year. So that's like my ultimate hope, since they already have. And if anything, even if they don't immediately put out those demos, the fact that those demos will be in stores means that those demos could possibly come to us sooner. So that's my hope for that. But we're vastly off topic. EA.
Yeah, I was about to say we vastly off topic. What else did they show? They finally showed a trailer for Dragon Age 3, which they've announced for a long time, but they've just haven't shown anything about it, which looks vastly better than 2 in many ways. They brought back Morrigan, which I know is many of people's favorite characters from the first one. They have the dwarf guy from 2 back. His name escapes me for whatever reason. But they also went back to the really dark, gritty art style of the first one.
Yeah.
Nobody liked the art style for the second one. It was very cartoony. Really? Yeah, nobody did.
True, it was kind of.
It was very, very cartoony looking, very bright colors, and the first one was just very depressing atmosphere, dark colors everywhere, much more realistic looking faces. And you can even tell that because they zoom in on the dwarf guy's face, and he looks different than he did in the second game. Yeah. Not so different you don't recognize him. Definitely,
but you can tell they've made the graphics hyper-realistic.
Yeah, they made them much more realistic than the first game. So they're definitely listening to the fans. Yeah. Which is going to be just really great if the gameplay is up there with the first one instead of the second one. They also showed UFC, which, I mean, it's UFC. I love the UFC games, but there's not really that much to talk about it.
Yeah, I mean,
besides that they had the UFC fighter come out and be a douchebag, and he was like, humans are made to fight each other. So that's what we should do. We should fight each other. And I'm like, no, go home. you don't belong here.
Like, he starts off with this really philosophically positive statement. No matter what color you are, no matter where you're from, your race, gender, we were born to fight. It's like, I was with you for a second there.
You had a good start, and then just
it's like, we love to fight, and it's inside of us. And I'm just like, okay, well, I understand that you feel that way, bro, but like, it's 2013, and Negroes go to jail.
I don't know about you, dude, but if you fight outside of that ring, you're going to jail.
That's what I'm thinking. It's just like, that's happy you feel that way, but I'm not there with you. It's just like, but the game though, it looked impressive. It looked good. One of my problems with the UFC games was that I didn't really feel that sense of connection in the hits that I feel, for example, while playing Tekken or Soul Calibur, or even.
Well, that's because they have to have realistic sound effects. You can't have huge explosions when you punch someone.
Yeah, I know. Let me finish. Okay, I was gonna go back and say, or even more realistic games, you know, when more realistic boxing games and things like Fight Night and all that. But
Fight Night Championship didn't do it. That's why I didn't buy the game.
But that was my main point was like from unrealistic to more realistic fighters, because you know I'm a fighting game guy. I've always thought that sense of connection with the hits. In UFC games, I always feel like my fighter's hitting a pillow. Like I don't feel like anything's
It depends on what move you're hitting them with and stuff. Like me, I kind of focus my characters with elbows more. And the elbows just wreck people up. Like when you hit somebody, you see their head like spin around like an owl or some shit. So it depends. I mean, if you do the jabs,
it's that Exorcist head spin.
Like the jabs literally look like you're just scratching their nose. I don't know. Yeah. They need to improve that.
Yeah, that's what I liked about the trailer that they showed. Even though that it's completely debatable if any of that was gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah.
It did look like you could hear that that skin hitting feel, and
yeah.
It seemed like a lot more impact when you hit somebody and things like that, as of course to like the other games where I just heard a very muffled thump. And you just didn't really get any of that sense of of accomplishment when you actually hit somebody. I kind of just felt like I was beating on a pillow. There wasn't a whole lot of sense of connection there. It's something that I just a very nitpick thing that I liked about the new trailer.
It's totally like a legit thing to complain about. That's why I didn't pick up Fight Night Champions. I loved all the other Fight Nights of Champions. I played the demo of it, and I was like, I don't feel like I'm hitting this person. I didn't pick up the game.
Yeah, like imagine the unrealistic games if it was like that. Like imagine Tekken, okay? And when you hit somebody, there's a slight flinch, and all you hear is like I couldn't do that. I couldn't. I was like, all right, I'm done here. Like it would just be terrible. So that's actually a good thing to address in that fighter, and I'm glad that they did. If that was gameplay. As for their sports games, though, like
it's sports games. There's nothing really to talk about.
Yeah, it's just like.
I mean, even like Battlefield 4, there's not much to talk about. Like
Battlefield 4 looks like
it definitely looks good. But it's still kind of Battlefield, there's not too much to talk about it.
Well, there's,
I'm a Battlefield fan too. It's not like I'm talking bad about the series.
Destructive environments and things like that.
The multiplayer, if all the maps have destructible buildings like that, where the whole friggin' building topples down.
I just don't understand why they didn't allow more players.
That's gonna be That's gonna be like completely epic. But I feel like 64 players.
Is not
as of next gen 64 players, they need to increase that.
Well, I mean, everybody already said yes, we're upgrading our servers. I'm like, word, you are? Are you sure about that? Because I'm pretty sure that there's only still 64 players allowed in the match. Like, if you could get double that,
like on consoles, I can understand getting bigger matches is harder. Like in MAG, they had that issue where you kind of have to wait like 10 minutes to get a match for 256 players. But on PC. Getting match sizes like that is no issue because there's no matchmaking involved.
Exactly, and it's
people with privately owned servers. See that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's Battlefield.
Just make it as epic and ridiculous as possible.
Because if you do, you already have a player base so huge that you could literally just put it doesn't matter what cap you put on a room, people will be in. You will have matches because there's that many people that play the game.
Yeah.
So. They really should have kind of just at least doubled the amount of players. If they would, because imagine how much better that would be as opposed to 64. You just 128.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a 128.
Yeah, 128 would have been just that. That would have been the thing to do for that because that many people. In the destructible environments, buildings crumbling everywhere, you know what I mean? That, and just pure chaos, and that would have been real warfare, not miniature skirmish like it is now.
Yeah, it's still on that minimal, just miniature skirmish. Oh my god, I can't talk today.
It's fine.
That's the last thing they showed was, what, Mirror's Edge 2?
Mirror's Edge 2. I have high hopes for it, but I never really got into the first one. It kind of had more of a cult following, to my knowledge.
I mean, I never finished the game myself.
There are so many people who loved it, and I just never saw what was that great about it. Can I see what's amazing? What could be amazing about a parkour game? Yes. Can I see what's amazing about a first-person parkour game? Kinda, but like.
And then they add in the fighting, and
Yeah.
Like, I remember they came out with the DLC for the first one, where they were just time trial maps, and I was like, this is fine. Just give me this. Just let me run around on maps and time trials. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. Also, I don't know. I can never. The thing is like, when it comes to parkour and first person, that just doesn't ever seem like a good mix because
it's just
you don't really know what you can. You know what I mean? Like you can never really tell exactly.
It's hard to judge distances and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's hard to judge distances. It's hard to see what you're even doing, so you can get accomplishment or say, "Oh, that looks awesome." You can't really say, "Oh, that looks awesome," because all you really see is the screen shaking. Like. You know what I mean?
You're wall running, and all you see is your hand on the wall, and it's like, I guess I'm wall running.
And you hear, like the squeaking of your sneakers, and then like that's like pretty much it. Like
there's not enough feedback for your actions.
Yeah, exactly, and things like that just make it a little more difficult to discern. That feeling of, oh, this is awesome. Like I like running. I like doing parkour in first person because, the parkour game could be perfectly fine. It's just. The execution of a first-person parkour game to me it's kind of eludes me a little bit. I just don't see why that wouldn't be third person. But I mean, all for being innovative and creative. I mean, if it works, it works.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's hop up in the Ubisoft here since the Sony conference is going to start soon.
3 minutes. Oh gosh.
3 minutes. I mean,
I wasn't even thinking.
Your Nintendo rant went on for like 10 minutes.
But it was a good rant. It was a good rant.
Wasn't even on topic really, but okay. So they start out with a Rocksmith, which I mean, if you like the first Rocksmith, or maybe it's the same Rocksmith. I don't know anything about the Rocksmith franchise. They had Splinter Cell Blacklist, which is coming out in 2 months. There's nothing they could really show or say that would have been new.
Not much they could have revealed. That was kind of my issue with the Ubisoft conference overall, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, they most of the stuff they showed is just stuff that we've already seen.
No, yeah, and that's like my problem was
there's Rayman, which we've already seen plenty of. There's South Park, which we've seen a little bit of. Watch Dogs, which there's tons of trailers up now.
Everything, yeah, there's plenty of
trailers. Just Dance. I mean, there's nothing to say about that.
Yeah, like what can you really? I mean, like it's just Dance. Like
it's just Dance.
It's just Dance. Like what do you? Well, there's not much you can do with that.
They did show the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, which looked pretty interesting.
It did look very interesting. I loved the humor. Like originally, the humor kind of eluded me a little bit. I was like,
and it just got like more crude throughout
the
video.
And it got more crude and more funny as it went. And then by the end, and he just like went in. I was dying. Like as soon as your mother, and then from there on, I was just dead.
But I mean, I didn't catch like the first like little bit of gameplay. Well, I barely did. But it looks like you can like build your own dungeons or something like that, and then other players try to raid your dungeons.
Which could be a great experience if they really pull it off right.
Yeah, it's an interesting take on the dungeon keeper genre, which I like dungeon keeper games. I've played plenty of dungeon keeper games, and it's really fun. Fighting other players with traps and stuff that you've made. But I'm more worried about the gameplay of when you're invading other people's dungeons, what that's going to be about. How does it determine what type of loot you get or whatever? How is loot going to play a role in the game? Yeah.
Like what can you really do? Just gives you more assets, to make your dungeon with and things of that nature. I really want to know, like, because like the game was called The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. I want some epic loot in there. You know what I mean?
Some epic loot.
Yeah, I really want it to live up to its name. Like, if it's really called, The Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, it better be a Mighty Quest for Epic Loot. Like,
I want to get a hammer that has like a little baby mammoth on the end of it that's alive. And I want to hit people with it while it just, horns off its trunk.
Like, I wouldn't put it past that game, seeing as how the humor's going and things of that nature. hey, I mean, it kind of seems like anything's possible for that game at this point.
They also showed, what was it, Crew, their racing game.
Crew,
Which,
I don't know what you can really say about that.
I mean,
It's an interesting concept.
It's an interesting concept how they have like the world map thing, or not the world map, but it just takes place in the U.S. I think.
U.S. map.
And it's the U.S. map, and then it's like you can group up with different people to do, you know, objectives and stuff. But it looks like I can imagine that there would be so many missions in that you would get bored of the game before you even beat it.
Yeah.
And then like, I don't know, the cars kind of looked dumb after they made them all beefy and monstrous, and I was like, now they look like Hot Wheels, and I don't like that.
Exactly. Like, this is Cars, the video game, and then,
yeah, and how we were talking about how it's Cars, the video game in the beginning, because they had
the truck comes out.
They had
the
the red sports car, and then they had the truck come out.
Yeah.
Just Lightning McQueen and Mater driving down the road.
Yeah, we're just like, wow, this is hyper realistic Cars, the video game. Which, I mean, the game, it doesn't. I'm never gonna say it looks bad. Looks, it looks like what it is. Like, there's not.
Yeah, it looks like they pulled off what they wanted to. I just don't know if I like it.
Yeah. The Ubisoft conference was a little bare for me. I really wanted some really new stuff that kind of wowed me a little bit, because I know that Watch Dogs is like an entire E3 old. So it's just like, what can you show us that's going to wow us about Watch Dogs, since it still has not come out yet? And the answer to that was nothing.
And it still hasn't wowed me personally. Because not that the graphics and the concept don't look good. I told you, they think that's brilliant, but the gameplay that they've shown just hasn't impressed me as of yet. Yeah. All the phone stuff they've done so far looks extremely like scripted, and then like the actual shootout and combat just looks extremely generic.
Yeah.
So the concept looks really good, and I'll probably definitely still pick it up when it comes out.
Oh yeah.
I just want to see more of it to impress me.
Yeah, to discern whether the gameplay, the actual real gameplay of it, is going to be anything too impressive. Like, yeah. Because that's the thing. That's the many games do, is, like, same thing with what we'll probably get to here in a second, Division. That was the one thing that we really hadn't heard about yet.
Yeah.
And it's, the main thing to be excited for from Ubisoft at this point. But the thing is that, like, it was beautiful and great in concept, but when it came to the actual gameplay, it was just, if you strip it down to what it is, it's just like
it looked like a generic ass shooter. It looked like it also had lock-on aiming, which, I'm sorry, but no. It looked like they had lock-on aiming. Was it just me?
I think it was just you.
The dude popped out, and his crosshairs were, like, dead center on the guy every single time. And when the dude was, like, behind cover, it was still dead center on his body, but it couldn't hit him because he was behind cover. I don't know. Just to me, it looked like it was lock-on. I don't know if it was just the guy had some weird form of aiming that made it look like it was lock-on, or what. But the concept of having, like, the open world, shooter MMO, which Defiance tried to be, but this looks like it's much better combat than Defiance. Like, it's much more actual console shooter-ish.
Yeah.
They still have the loot in it with the weapons. They have, I think they fought a group of AI at the beginning, and then they fought the PvP players at the end. So I don't know how that's gonna work out, if it's like you can flag yourself for open PvP, or if everybody's just PvP against everybody at all time. Yeah, because it seems to be some sort of like survival game somewhat. And I'm just worried about that, because then you have, like, what if you want to play by yourself and then just everybody's against you and you're just completely outnumbered?
Exactly.
Or it would just be like just utter chaos. It's definitely I think it's probably the number one game I'm looking forward to that's been shown so far at this E3.
You know me, I'm still pulling for tomorrow morning bright and early, but it's Ubisoft. I was really just kind of expecting more from them, because it's just every year now it seems like, okay, we have some really cool, inventive.
ideas.
Innovative idea, and then we have some raving rabbits that you don't really want to care about, but it's there because it's a must. Okay.
Yeah, what was the thing they're making? A Raving Rabbits movie or
Invasion
TV show?
thing? I hope not.
It looked like they said it was like some TV show that you can like come in and then shoot rabbits on screen, because that, is awesome, I guess. And they had the Trials game, which, I mean, people still play the crap out of the last one that just came out, last year. They're already making 2 new ones, so I don't know how that's gonna work out. I think it's a little too soon for a new Trials game.
Yeah.
Because it's not like the Trials game have short lifespans or anything like that. They have long-ass lifespans.
There's just a lot from Ubisoft that I either already knew or wasn't really monumental enough, in my opinion. It's like, I'm not saying it's bad or I'm not gonna ever play it or I'm not gonna grab it, but like those huge, like AAA titles are just something that completely blows everybody away. I think Defiance this year was supposed to do what Watch Dogs did last year.
The Division.
Did I say Defiance?
Yes.
Division. Okay, Division is what I meant. I think Division was supposed to do this year what Watch Dogs did last year.
I think it did it like to a T almost.
Yeah.
Same thing where it wows people with graphics and concept, but the gameplay itself is kind of generic looking. But
you're so mystified.
But you did. But it's definitely something you want to keep an eye on.
Well, yeah, but you're so mystified by what you just saw in gameplay. I'm not gameplay, in graphics and in story concept, that like you look at the gameplay and you're already so juiced up that you're like, yeah, this is awesome no matter what.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing from Ubisoft I'm looking forward to is Defiance. Or not Defiance. God damn it, Sean! You can. I only did that because you did.
Yeah, no, don't blame it.
You're
on
an
me.
asshole.
Wow, it's my fault because you can't talk today.
You did it first. The Division is what I'm looking forward to the most.
No, it's Defiance.
No, it's not.
Just confuse everyone who's watching.
The Division.
Definitely what I'm looking forward most to, from Ubisoft. Watch Dogs will always be my, number one lookout right now, but definitely in the future, Division looks like it could be great.
I wonder if they're gonna have any type of like monthly fees in it or some bullshit. Or how microtransactions are going to work in it, considering it seems pretty like PvP takes a big part of it.
Yeah. Speaking of, are you on the stream yet?
Yeah, they haven't started yet.
Because like they were just showing some pre-show stuff, and they were in the background was just pure infamous Second Son gameplay. Like, I don't know if you were watching. Which I'm not going to comment about because that's for the next video. But yeah, I didn't know if my stream was like broken or something, because I was very confused there for a second. But yeah.
All right, so I think that wraps up our EA and Ubisoft discussion.
Which a little empty. They showed some stuff that I'm definitely interested in, but aside from Titanfall and there's some stuff that they announced or re-announced officially that I'm really excited for, like Battlefront.
Yeah, they said Battlefront.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of saw that coming.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, just those new eyes, because I feel like in this next generation, I feel like what's most important and what's so monumental is not necessarily hyper-realism with graphics or new control schemes, but more so new IPs, in my opinion.
Yeah, people want new kind of forms of gameplay and stuff.
People want new IPs, and people want reboots on old IPs. Then people want, certain IPs just be brought back from the dead and made better. I think that concept of the fact that you got kind of a clean slate now to make something so much bigger and better is what they need to focus on. Especially like those companies that make so many old great games, like EA. You were pulling for SSX that entire time.
Yeah, whole time. I was so mad they didn't talk anything about SSX.
the stage was primed and ready for some SSX, and I could not believe that they just skipped out on making that game for now. Like,
if they were making one for the next gen, they could have showed some of like the most phenomenal gameplay of it.
exactly.
It would have been the highlight of EA's conference.
It really would have. You had the nostalgia. You had the fact that SSX is just plain awesome. Like, you have great characters, and that soundtrack. Like, that is all you need. Like, SSX is such not a difficult game to make, in my opinion. Take the concept from the previous one and just expand upon it a little more. That's all you gotta do, and keep everything. Just expand a little bit, and just update the graphics for your next gen system, and update that soundtrack, and you're good to go. But that was my hope for EA. They didn't follow through, but they weren't a total failure at all by any means, even though I do hate that company, let that be known. Ubisoft, love them. The spokeswoman scares me.
With the girlwood?
The girlwood.
The girlwood and the stripper heels.
Yeah, her girlwood scares me. I'll probably have nightmares about her girlwood and her stripper heels tonight.
Together?
Together, yes, in the same dream. It's gonna be her girlwood wearing those stripper heels.
Oh God.
Yeah, nightmares. See, now I'm not the only one. But overall, out of a 10, since we're just randomly rating things now, I would give EA a solid 6.9.
6.9?
I don't think, because a 7. Okay, I'll give him a 7. 7. A solid 7.
I'd probably agree with you.
Yeah, a solid 7. Ubisoft I don't want to say, because, okay.
Ubisoft, I'll give an 8.5.
You give him an 8.5? Oh, because of Division. Because, like,
just as a whole, they did show, like, the Mighty Quest of Epic Loot looked good.
True.
Crew looked like it did what it wanted to, even if it gave them props for that.
Yeah, definitely. True. Yeah, I wouldn't give them an 8.5. It's a bit close to 9. I'll give them an 8 though, simply because Division and Epic, the Mighty Quest for Epic Loot, and they're games that they showed that they weren't necessarily huge, but it wasn't a failure on any end. You know what I mean? EA gave me a lot of what I didn't want in some
especially
areas.
Drake.
So, especially Drake. So yeah, I mean, no, nothing against Drake. It's just, I don't like my Drake and my E3. I like those things separate. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about those. Not bad, but it didn't blow me away. Not quite yet.